Students think that oil painting is the most complicated medium, but I think it's the most forgiving medium. You have all the time you need to make corrections, and it does take longer to dry. You can wait 5 or 6 hours for your next layer, or you can wait overnight, right? But they are forgiving. If you need time to work an area, you can always stop, leave it alone. It doesn't matter if it's the next day, and just continue all over again. You can go back and rework it. Because the masters used it, people think that it's so difficult to use, but it's really not. So I'm gonna go over all of this with you, and I'll show you how to set it up, what mediums you need to use, and just how to start painting immediately. Let's get to it. It can get really confusing to choose stuff when you're a beginner. So I'm gonna show you what you need. So these are the materials that I have laid out. And I just wanna go over really quick the brushes that you're going to need. I just wanna make this as simple. When you're starting out in oils, you just could get what you need and get started right away. So you wanna get soft brushes or synthetic brushes. Here's some soft brushes that I have. Here are some synthetic brushes that I have, just like these. And the basic ones that you'll need when you're starting out. Also think about how large or small your painting is gonna be. You're gonna need that size brush accordingly. So let's go over the brushes really quick. So don't let the cost of the brush rule the choices that you make. You can find good, inexpensive brushes when you're starting out, but just don't get the bargain multi-pack brushes, because the hairs will come out, the bristles, and they'll fall into your painting and they'll be embedded in there forever. So you definitely don't want to do that. So I have here a flat brush. Here's your flat brush. And this one has a clean, straight edge for applying color evenly to areas. I have here a bright, and it looks like a flat, except it has shorter bristles. Then I have filbert. A filbert is interesting almond-shaped brushes, and they're sort of round off at the tip. I think this one is the most common one that I use, and they come all different types of sizes. This one is a size 8. I love using liner brushes to get into really detailed areas and to do lines and things like that. And a round brush. This is another one that I use a lot. This one is a number 2 round. So those are the basic brushes I think that when you're starting out, you should definitely get. You can get a nice assortment of colors. They have these wonderful kits that come with starter colors for you to begin painting with. I really love using Gamblin. This is probably the most that I use are Gamblins. They also have Winsor Newton that are a little less than Gamblin, more affordable. I love using Gamsol. It's the safest solvent they have, and it allows the artist to work without that strong smell. So this is not toxic to use. I love to use it to thin oil colors, and you can also paint with mediums. This is another popular medium that I love to use. You can cut down your drying time by 50% by using liquid medium, and this just helps with the flow of the piece, helps with drying time, but you want to use very little of this, okay? You don't want to overdo it with the medium. You also want to get a container to keep your solvent in. Oops, I just spilled a little. With a nice cover. You can see that I have some in there. I like to use my solvent to clean my brushes. And before cleaning my brushes, of course, you need to always have a rag. It's another thing that you need. You can use an old towel or any cotton rag that you have, t-shirt, things like that I've used in the past to clean my brushes with. So you're also going to need a rag. Now when you're cleaning your brushes, you also want to make sure to clean all the paint off, of course, with your rag. You want to dip it in the Gamsol solvent that you're using, okay, and clean it again. But then you also want to go and wash this under warm water with soap and make sure to get all of that oil paint off. When you're starting out, and even I do this, I use a Strathmore paper palette. Palette paper, I should say. And they have different brands and things like that. But I love this because you can work with your oils with this, and you can just rip the sheet off and start with a clean sheet or things like that. So it's easier cleanup, and you could just sort of toss that in the garbage. To start out, you need maybe a desk easel, whatever you're comfortable with. You can also use stand-up easels. Again, whatever you're comfortable with, but find what works for you. Make it simple, not complicated, and make it comfortable. What is rabbit glue? Well, this was used to seal the canvases so the linseed oil wouldn't go through the fibers. It was also used on canvases or linen before oil painting to protect the fibers from deteriorating. It also acts as a sealer, creating a protective barrier between canvas and gesso. Now, it's really important to note that conservation scientists are warning painters that the glue absorbs atmospheric moisture on damp days and swells, and it gives off moisture on dry days and shrinks. This movement causes oil paintings to crack. There are substitutes out there. Gamblin has a PVA size that you can use. It's really preference. So you really just have to find what works for you.